We're working to connect a region of over 600 million bridges between our lands.
Welcome to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Alma Angeles, delivering to you the latest news in and around the ASEAN region on today's headlines. A total of 45 persons and 47 firearms were seized during the first 3 days of the gun ban for the 2019 midterm elections. Indonesia President Joko Widodo has revealed that after several years of delay, Indonesia and Switzerland will soon ratify a mutual legal assistance agreement. The Iglesia de Cristo in Thailand held a tribute to overseas Filipino workers. A total of 45 persons and 47 firearms were seized during the first 3 days of the gun ban for the 2019 midterm elections. Based on the data provided by the Philippine National Police, or PNP National Election Monitoring and Action Center, there were 6,264 checkpoints set up in strategic areas nationwide as of 8 a.m. Tuesday, which also resulted in the confiscation of 311 deadly weapons from January 13 to 15. The Philippine National Police also recorded 8 incidents of election-related violence, 6 in Calabarzon and 2 in autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao, which are still subject for validation. Earlier, PNP Chief Director General Oscar Albayalde said field reports from the police regional offices continue to come in on the results of the implementation of Commission on Elections Resolution number 10468, which provided guidelines on the establishment and operation of checkpoints for the midterm polls. Aside from being a deputized agency of the poll body, the PNP is also tasked to dismantle private armed groups, provide security to vulnerable candidates, lead the accounting and loose firearms, and neutralize gun for hire and criminal gangs. In Indonesia, the cockpit voice recorder from an Indonesian Lion Air jet that crashed in October has been recovered, according to officials, a discovery that could be critical to explaining why a brand new plane fell out of the sky just after takeoff. The Boeing 737 MAX vanished from radar about 13 minutes after departing Jakarta, slamming into the Java Sea moments after pilots had asked to return to the capital and killing all 189 people on board.
Koordinat signal underwater locator beacon yang sudah diidentifikasi pada operasi sebelumnya. Operasi ini menggunakan peralatan yang ada di KRI Spika seperti magnetometer.
GPR dari pesawat Lion Air JT610. Ya, ini berkat kerjasama kita semuanya, KNKT bersama KRI Spika tentunya, dan para penyelam baik di Selam Bahir maupun Kopaska Armada 1. Dan alhamdulillah ini kita telah berhasil menemukan.
Hari ke-7 itu kami menyelam kedalaman 35 kami meneruskan kegiatan yang kemarin itu. Kemarin meneruskan dengan kegiatan silker. Mutar. Nah, itu mungkin jarak mungkin 4 sampai 5 meter itu kan. 4 meter di puing-puing 4 sampai 5 meter. Nah, dari tiga yang ditentukan itu saya menemukan.
Despite the name, black boxes are usually bright orange with reflective stripes, and all commercial planes are obliged to have them on board. They're built to survive at vast depths and in extreme heat, and are fitted with a beacon which can emit a signal for 1 month. Black box data helps explain nearly 90% of all crashes, according to aviation experts. And staying in Indonesia, President Joko Widodo has revealed that after several years of delay, Indonesia and Switzerland will soon ratify a mutual legal assistance agreement. Now, this is a positive development for them. As Widodo explained to his social media followers, the MLA treaty will make it possible to trace illegal financial activities between Indonesian and Swiss financial institutions. Recovering stolen assets has become a top priority on Indonesia's anti-corruption agenda. Last year, Widodo issued Presidential Decree number 54, which details a national strategy to prevent corruption. And the Ministry of Law and Human Rights issued Government Regulation number 43, which encourages citizens to become anti-corruption whistleblowers. In Indonesia, white-collar criminals usually hide their unlawfully obtained assets abroad in jurisdictions that are viewed as safe havens. Because of its bank secrecy laws, Switzerland has long been a popular safe haven in which to store or to disguise illicit funds. And indeed, Indonesian Corruption Watch, or ICW, suspects the late President Suharto hid significant illicit assets in Switzerland that have not yet been identified and therefore remain untouchable. However, other places such as Singapore, the British Virgin Islands, the Bahamas, and Panama also serve as safe havens for ill-gotten gains taken from Indonesia. The Department of Foreign Affairs said the Philippine Embassy in New Zealand is now coordinating with authorities there for the issuance of visa to a sibling of a Filipino nurse who recently died in the said country. Foreign Affairs Assistant Secretary El Mercato said the issuance of visa to a sister of Kenny Espinosa, 26, was being arranged. Espinosa went swimming with his friends at the popular Wangere Falls on January 11. When the incident happened, according to Mary Batayola, a friend and flatmate of the victim. Espinosa was seen gasping for air when he reached the middle of the falls and drowned. Espinosa, whose parents are deceased, provided for his younger siblings by working in Saudi Arabia as a registered nurse in 2015 after the expiration of his contract. He pursued a career and a diploma course in New Zealand. Before his demise, he was already processing the competency assessment program for overseas registered nurse. Malaysian Finance Minister Lim Guang Eng says his government insists on reclaiming $7.5 billion from U.S. financial firm Goldman Sachs in reparations over One Malaysia Development Berhad scandal, or 1MDB scandal, adding that it was an extremely reasonable amount. He cited agony and trauma the country experienced as huge financial losses incurred from the country's 1MDB sovereign wealth fund. The fallout from the scandal has led to money laundering charges filed against Najib Razak, the former prime minister, who lost power in elections last year. The scandal involved money being illegally transferred across shell companies and individual bank accounts in many countries. The U.S. Department of Justice previously alleged that Najib received $681 million from proceeds misappropriated from a bond issue arranged by Goldman Sachs in 2013. The finance minister argued that Malaysia never got any money from the issuance of bonds. The fees charged were astronomical and the terms were very unfavorable. He also called on Goldman Sachs to have a heart and to include a mention in its annual earnings report that it would make some provisions for some reparation payments to Malaysia. Goldman Sachs, for its part, said that the charges brought in by Malaysia were misdirected and vowed to vigorously defend against them. An earthquake measuring 5.0 on the Richter scale jolted in North Tapanuli District, North Sumatra Province on Tuesday at 6:59 a.m. local time. The quake's epicenter was located at 1.77 degree northern latitude and 99.09 degree eastern longitude, 31 kilometers southeast of North Tarutung, and at a depth of 10 kilometers. This is according to the Meteorology, Climatology, and Geophysics Agency on its website on Tuesday. The tremor was a shallow crustal earthquake triggered by activities of Sumatra Fault Zone in its Toru segment. Many local residents were panic-stricken when the quake occurred and they rushed out of their homes. The tremor didn't have potential to trigger a subsequent tsunami. Indonesia is one of the most disaster-prone countries in the world, as it is located on the Pacific Ring of Fire, where a large number of volcanoes and earthquakes occur.
When visiting the Philippines, Manila or Quezon City is a popular destination. But oftentimes the hustle and bustle of the city can be more stressful on your vacation. So when you feel the need to reconnect to nature or relax again, there's a beautiful oasis just outside of the city called the Garden at Ciudad de Victoria. Some of the species that you can see here include hydrangea, snapdragon, and stargazers. They're truly beautiful. The gardens at Ciudad de Victoria are so peaceful, tranquil, and beautiful that it's become a haven for young couples and a very popular venue for engagement photos. The next time you want an escape from the big city, the garden at Ciudad de Victoria is a wonderful place to visit.
Four ASEAN cities have made the top 20 list in real estate consultancy JLL City Momentum Index 2019, which tracks socio-economic and commercial real estate growth in 131 cities over a 3-year period. Vietnam was the strongest performer, with 2 cities ranking the highest in ASEAN, Hanoi at 3rd place and Ho Chi Minh City at 8th. The Philippines was represented by Manila in 12th place and Thailand Bangkok in 18th place. Topping the list was Bangalore, one of 6 Indian cities in the top 20. China had the greatest presence with 9 cities. The only non-Asian city in the top 20 was Kenya's capital Nairobi, which ranked 6th, a position heavily influenced by significant amounts of infrastructure-focused investment from China. Now, JL Director of Global Research Jeremy Kelly said, Asia continues to show strong momentum with cities that are successfully expanding their innovation economy, punching above their weight in terms of attracting capital, companies and people. It's clear that the tech sector, he said, is a key driver of both real estate and economic momentum, driven by large technology firms as well as dynamic startups in cities like Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Ho Chi Minh City, and Shenzhen. Now, on its 6th year, the City Momentum Index looks at 20 indicators for socio-economic momentum. These include recent percentage changes in city GDP, population, air passengers, and corporate headquarters presence, projected percentage changes in GDP, population, and retail sales, and recent levels and changes in foreign direct investment as a proportion of a city's economy for commercial real estate momentum. These include variables relating to recent and projected percentage changes in office net absorption, office rents, retail rents, and hotel rooms, international retail presence, and recent changes in direct commercial real estate investment volumes and real estate transparency. The Malaysian banking sector is expected to see moderate growth this year in line with the slowdown in global gross domestic product or GDP. United Overseas Bank or Malaysia BHD UCB or UOB Managing Director and Country Head of Personal Financial Services Ronnie Lim said the ongoing U.S.-China trade war was not doing any good to global markets and was among the main factors contributing to the slowdown. He said the U.S. economy was expected to grow at 2.6% this year and China at 6.2%, down from the earlier forecast of 6.6%. He said with the U.S.-China trade war truce ending in February, how these countries, including Malaysia, chart their next growth will depend on the result of the discussions taking place between the two countries. U.S. President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping had agreed to a 90-day truce war in Buenos Aires, Argentina last December to enable the two sides to bridge the differences between their positions in key issues. Economic growth trajectory is expected to pick up this year, growing between 6.8% and 7.2% on an upturn in consumption spending amid improving inflation outlook. The First Metro Investments Corp or FMIC and the University of Asia and the Pacific said on Tuesday. UAP economist Victor Abola said the projected economic expansion is within the government's 7% to 8% growth target for the year. Domestic demand continues to push it forward and is also being led by investments, and we're seeing increased election spending, and these are boosters and some spendings as well, he said. Abola also said the economy will still be driven by industry, construction, and manufacturing. He added sustained fiscal stimulus from infrastructure spending will also continue to power the economy. Abola said the country's gross domestic product likely grew 6.5% last year. The Philippine economic growth averaged 6.3% in the first 3 quarters of 2018. Meanwhile, inflation is on a clear downward trend and is expected to taper off to 3% to 3.5% due to the normalization of food supply and lower global oil prices. The Iglesia ni Cristo in Thailand held a tribute to overseas Filipino workers. Crystal Mapa reports.
Appointed as a special envoy to overseas Filipino workers, the Executive Minister of the Church of Christ, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, in cooperation with FYM Foundation, together with the ministers, church officers, and members, are gathered here today in Royal Orchid Sheraton Hotel in Bangkok, Thailand, to lead the Iglesia ni Cristo's Aid to Humanity, a tribute to overseas Filipino workers.
Dito po kami ngayon sa Tan Son Nhat International Airport. Naghihintay po kami ng aming flight papuntang Bangkok, Thailand upang dumalo po sa tribute po para sa mga OFW.
Dito kami ngayon sa Cambodia Airport. Papunta kami ng Bangkok para danhan ang aming ticket.
Tagged as modern-day heroes,
OFWs who are non-members were cordially invited and welcomed warmly by officers and members of the Church of Christ in said gathering. A worship service was first conducted and officiated by Brother Eduardo V. Manalo. The attendees listened eagerly to the words of God written in the Bible. It was also a momentous day for the Church of Christ members and officers in the District of Thailand to be visited by the Executive Minister as the New Year comes forth.
To add delight and pleasure to guests, performers from Philippine Entertainment showcased their talents in program after the worship service.
Original Filipino music was rendered to guests that aims to ease their homesickness even for a while. Stand-up comedians filled the venue with fun and laughter as they performed. Asia's Got Talent semi-finalist Velasco Brothers also showcased their jaw-dropping, heart-stopping acrobatic stunts and dance. Truly an event full of fun and entertainment for OFWs to enjoy. Distribution of goodwill bags and refreshments followed the entertainment program. Guests receive it with smiles on their faces after a day of tribute for their hard work and sacrifices for working abroad.
Mary Jo Bernardo Aragon. I'm the Philippine Ambassador to the Kingdom of Thailand and Permanent Representative to the UN ESCAP for the last 3.5 years now. I was quite impressed with the presence, with the turnout of our kababayans today, and we're very much honored and privileged in meeting the Executive Minister Ka Eduardo Manalo. We look forward to partnering with the Iglesia ni Cristo in helping our overseas Filipinos here in the Kingdom of Thailand. I believe today's event has given a lot of joy and comfort to many of our overseas Filipinos, not only here in Thailand, but also those who came here from different countries. I think listening to the Executive Minister and knowing his great love for the overseas Filipinos is such a great comfort and to our overseas Filipinos, and we do look forward to working with Iglesia ni Cristo, and we are thankful to the President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, for appointing the Executive Minister Ka Eduardo Manalo as special envoy for overseas Filipinos. His presence here reflects his sincerity in helping our overseas Filipinos. So we wish more power to Iglesia ni Cristo.
I am Val Roque. I'm the Consul General of the Philippine Embassy. Well, I'm happy that Iglesia ni Cristo has visited Thailand, and from the reaction that I've observed this morning, it seems that everyone is happy, and we look forward to working with the INC here in Thailand for the promotion of the welfare of our overseas Filipino workers here. As my ambassador said, we thank the President for the appointment of the Executive Minister as a special envoy for OFWs, and we think that the Executive Minister and INC as an organization is an effective partner to helping our OFWs with their challenges.
What we have today is the tribute for the OFW, and through the leadership of the ministers and the local officers, we have convinced all the brethren to come out and help in inviting many guests, especially our kababayan or our countrymen. And as what we have seen in the event, they were surprised that it is the executive minister himself who preached in the special gathering. And after the special gathering, we had parcels for them or gift for them. One of the things that we want to point out to our fellow kababayan or fellow Filipinos is that wherever we go, we want to make sure that they need to know about the church, they need to understand about the Iglesia ni Cristo, and we want to invite them again until such time that they will continue to undergo Bible study on doctrines, because that is the best thing we could offer to them aside from the material things that we had offered to them today. And to our beloved Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, we promise you we will remain faithful to you, we will remain on your side, we will remain helping you in all your projects, in all the activities being launched in the Iglesia ni Cristo. Thank you so much po.
Through the leadership of Brother Eduardo V. Manalo as Executive Minister, members of the Church of Christ continuously do good for those who are in need. May it be in different countries, distance is not a hindrance. They are enthusiastic in sharing their faith, always willing to give, and works in unity with the church administration. Reporting from the Aid to Humanity, tribute to OFWs here in Royal Orchid Sheraton Hotel in Bangkok, Thailand, I am Crystal Mapa. I am 1 with 25.
And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Alma Angeles, always 1 with 25.